actual god, I'm going to cry. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, Dutchy. And for today's Pride themed video, I thought I would get you guys involved once again. When I asked you guys for inspiration for Pride themed videos, I got this response a lot. Get your subscribers to share their stories of how they felt before they came out, or their coming out stories, or just thoughts and feelings they had when they were figuring out their sexuality. So that is what today's video is all about. I took to my Instagram. If you would like to take part in future videos, you should go and follow me. And basically asked you guys to email me your coming out stories, thoughts and feelings you had when figuring out your sexuality, etc. And I got so many submissions. I cannot wait to read them out to you guys. I think some of you sent videos as well, so that'll be super cute too. I can't wait, you can't wait. So let's go ahead and share some of your stories. Okay fam, first one. Hey Megan, the way I realized I was bi was classy. By falling for a girl for the first time. I had hypothetically thought about maybe being bi for a couple of years already back then, but I'd always shrugged it aside since I hadn't ever had a crush on a girl, or so I thought. In retrospect, I had quite a few. Oops, mood. But then suddenly I became kind of close with this girl and we hung out at a party and danced together, and it hit me so hard. Anyways, this led to a weird friend slash perhaps more than friends relationship that lasted 2 years, and I felt very much taken advantage of since the girl always alluded to not being straight and got back to flirting with me whenever she broke up with a guy. I kind of felt like a backup plan in a way. I eventually cut her off because I was tired of being used. However, happy ending, I now have the most beautiful girlfriend who never makes me question whether she likes me or not. So I guess everything worked out in the end. I'm so excited for the video. Bless you! So proud of you and happy for your entire journey. Also glad you recognized that toxicity and cut that girl out of your life. Although obviously she had some meaning and helped you figure out your sexuality and who you are attracted to, which is great. But that's awesome that you cut her out, and it's even better that you have the most beautiful girlfriend now that is so wholesome, and I am so happy for you. Oh my god, if trucks could stop driving past my house right now. That's the third time that street sweeper has passed my bedroom. Hi Dutchy. A little bit of background. I was and still am a scout. Like Boy Scout, but it's mixed now. Anyway, this was my first big camp and a bunch of my friends were going. I was about 12 and we were messing around and playing truth or dare. One of my friends, we'll call her Tim Tam, was joking about an Am I Gay game show. So after Tim Tam pretended to interview a few of my friends, she got to me. She asked me about what school I went to. I'm homeschooled, and some other questions, none of which actually had to do with who I liked, and then declared queer. I laughed it off and was like, yeah, nah. Joke's on me. Now I realize I'm either bi or pan, but I used to like different sexes based on my mood and what day it was, etc. So I used to be queer, I think, but my brain didn't know how to handle my confusion. So it trained itself to like all people, I think. Also, as a side story, my friends always teased me and asked why I had so many crushes. I thought that it was because I was homeschooled, so that was why, because I'm socially deprived of friends, etc., and only get to see them like once a week. After talking to a few of my other homeschooled friends, I discovered that no, they don't have crushes on many people. So no, I'm pretty sure it's because I'm not straight and love people. Really sorry this was long. My love, Lara. Oh, I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Hi, I'm Effie. Hi, Effie. But I'm known online and on my blog as elly. Oh, I'll pop your blog up on the screen. Basically, I've always known that something was different about me, and from about 8, I knew I was gay but told no one. And that caused some pretty funny experiences and conversations. I'm not out at school as yet, as it is hella Catholic and I already get harassed enough as it is. And last year I invited some of my friends from school and my friends who I was out to my house for my birthday. My friends walked into my room and saw my homemade pride flag on my wall and asked what's that. I answered with something like, oh nothing, but they wouldn't let it go. Then one of my friends said to me, who was wearing a flannel, a rainbow t-shirt underneath, cuffed and ripped jeans and pride Doc Martens, if I was a lesbian. My best mate started laughing so hard and my mum came up the stairs and started laughing too because it was so obvious. After a few seconds of dying, I just said, anyone want to watch Drag Race? And left it at that. I know it's not that funny, but yeah, by the way, you're such a huge inspiration to me and I love you so much. Effie Alec. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that so much. I love it. A little bit awkward, but isn't it always? Okay, next one. Embarrassing fools as a gay secret agent. Mine is quite bland. I transferred schools that were 6 hours apart. I quickly became the shy book nerd band kid. It took me the majority of the school year to even hold a conversation with someone. To my knowledge, the first thing I said to my soon-to-be girlfriend was in class when the popular guys were being dicks. I said, how can they be such big dicks when the girls talk about how small they are? And fast forward to a few months later in that same class when my girlfriend and I were together, the same guys came up to me and asked if I was interested in having an orgy with them, and I pretty much just said, honeys. I was a quiet kid you like to talk shit about. I hear conversations and see things about you and your buddies. Now don't make me embarrass you by shouting out your dick size, because sweetheart, you may as well be my girlfriend. Oh! Take that! Oh! That was an interesting one. My whole life, I knew I liked guys more than girls, but I didn't know until 8th grade that's what bisexual meant. My friend told me about his brother being bi, and because I'm a late bloomer, I soon started really wanting... In freshman year of high school, my teacher overheard me making gay jokes to a friend who was a lesbian, and the teacher thought this was bullying her, and the dean almost suspended me for hate speech. I came out as bi to my mum so she would know I wasn't actually a homophobe, but she thought I was lying to get out of being grounded. It took a whole year before I was able to make my mum believe I wasn't a homophobe and that I was LGBT all along. That's my story. That is one heck of a story. Hey Dutchy, my name's Amelia and I identify as a lesbian. I knew I wasn't straight when I was 13 years old. I'm now 18, and I had a crush on one of my classmates. At first I just thought she was really cool and wanted to be her friend, but then I realized I actually liked her. When speaking to her, I would try and find as many things that we had in common, but would always get nervous and got butterflies in my stomach when trying to initiate a conversation with her. After a while, I told my closest friends how I felt, and they were all accepting, and one of them came out as bi to me. At the end of the school year, I planned to tell my crush I liked her and got one of my friends to tell her. We texted after and she told me she was straight, but I was super surprised at how accepting and nice she was to me at school, as we went to a Catholic all-girls school. Fast forward 4 years later, I've finally come out as gay to all of my friends by showing them my TikTok account. And they've all been very supportive. Thank you so much for reading this, and I absolutely love you and your channel. I absolutely love you too. Thank you so much for sharing that inspiring story. I love it. So I lied to my best friend about my sexuality so she wouldn't know I have a crush on her. I'm really flirty towards her. I'm still going along with it. I'm waiting till I start testosterone because that can change your sexuality, so even though I'm lying, she'll never find out if I play my cards right. Hi Megan! My experiences have been all over the place. I only came out 2 weeks ago as queer, and I've known for about 6 years that I wasn't straight. I am now 19. I started realizing I wasn't straight when I was 12 or 13. When I had a dream, I kissed my best friend. For some reason it felt awkward after that around her, but I never told her. I also didn't know any people that were in the LGBTQ+ community, so that's why I never told anyone. A couple of years later, when I was 17, I met one of my closest friends who is asexual, and she helped me through a lot and gave me the confidence to accept who I am. When I came out, I got a lot of support from friends and family, which has helped me to feel better about myself, and now I can finally be who I am after 6 years of hiding. I just want to thank you again for what you do and how you help many people. EJ. Bless! These stories are so wholesome, I cannot. Hi Dutchy, this is my coming out story from when I came out as transgender. 3 years ago I met my boyfriend Alec. We immediately clicked and started dating. This was around the time I came to terms with myself and started to understand why I was so uncomfortable with my mind and body. I'm not a girl, but a boy. Deep inside I kinda knew, but it still explained a lot. Then my dark period started. 1 year ago, I decided that I wanted to come out to my family, so I did. But it was one of the worst decisions I've ever made. They didn't talk to me and just ignored me. This pushed me into a depression. The only thing that held me alive was Alec. Of course, Alec noticed something, but I pushed my feelings so deep away in the closet that he couldn't reach them. 3 months later, he found the scratches that I'd made on my body. He sat next to me and asked me very calmly if I could explain myself. When I looked up and saw in his eyes that it hurts him that I was hurting, and that I wasn't telling him why. And then it all just came out. I cried so much while telling him that I wasn't a girl but a boy. He was so amazing and understanding. That night I slept in his house, and when I woke up he was sitting in the kitchen together with his parents. Turns out he told them what was going on, and they offered me a room in their house so I could get away from my parents and move in with them. My parents didn't even look up the next day when we came to get all my stuff. While we were moving everything, Alec disappeared for a couple of hours and came back that evening when I was already totally settled into my new room with a new shirt that said, "I love my boyfriend." I'm now 17 and in the middle of my transition. I am now in perfect surroundings and love everyone who is around me. Oh my actual god, I'm going to cry. Alec, I know you're a fan of Dutchy and are definitely watching this, so I love you to the moon and back, and without you, I would probably not be alive today. You're the best person in the galaxy, and please come down now. I have a surprise for you. Thank you for sharing my story, Dutchy. You're amazing. Sam. Say bye to Izzy next week. I get my name changed. Thank you so much, Sam. That was a whirlwind. First of all, you are so strong. Thank you so much for sharing that with us from a transgender perspective as well. I find that one a little bit tough to speak about just because I've never experienced it myself. I've done a few collabs with AJ in the past, re transgender and transitioning and all of those sorts of things. And I love bringing AJ onto my channel because then she can sort of speak about her experience regarding being a transgender woman and like her experience and transitioning and how she felt. AJ and Bambi are actually two of my close friends and I love and adore them so much, and I've been around them and like I've heard their experience and listened to how they've felt, but I feel like I can never speak to being transgender because I am not. But I'm super open to creating more transgender content on here. In fact, I would love to do a collab with both AJ and Bambi again sometime, get them both onto my channel and listen to both of their experiences or something like that, because yeah, I would like to bring more of that onto my channel. I just feel like because I haven't gone through it myself, I can't speak to it as well as they would. But thank you so much for sharing your experience, Sam. That was so wholesome, and I was not expecting that little shout out to your boyfriend. I could cry. Hey, I saw your Insta story, so I thought I'd send mine. I always knew I wasn't straight. I grew up in a conservative Catholic family. My parents were divorced, one more liberal and the other was very, very conservative. When I was 17, I still hadn't really had any relationships. I went on a school trip to Oxford and I don't sleep well on planes, so I watched a movie I'd never seen before, Call Me By Your Name. That's when it clicked that I was like them. I went to prom with a good friend of mine who also not straight, who asked me what I was. I honestly had no idea. After prom, we went and saw Love, Simon. Everything kind of just gave me clues that I wasn't straight. Long story short, I came out as lesbian to my family, until I did an internship and fell for a guy I was working with. It didn't work out because he didn't feel the same way. So then I went through the lovely am I bi or pan phase. I finally figured out that I am in fact pan. And no, I'm not dating a frying pan, thank you very much. But then comes the gender portion. Of course I get settled in what I thought was a relationship, but turns out it wasn't. Again, long story. But I am gender fluid, and the person I was with kept telling me there were only two genders. Sorry, no thanks. But the gender fluid part I haven't exactly told my family. So that's mostly my story. Thank you so much. You guys opening up for this video is just wholesome. Thank you. This is a story of how I knew I was gay AF. I have this best friend who I've been best friends with for about 2 years. Me and her talk about everything together, and the subject of sexualities came up. I said that I didn't know while she told me she was bi. I didn't know why at the time, but I felt happy when she said that. This was about a year ago. About 6 months passed and I didn't really think much of it until I started to feel very excited when I saw her, and if she said we should hang out together, and when my friends would talk about boys, I would just look at pictures of boys and say, oh yeah, they're hot, but I didn't really mean it. Around this time I was watching Pretty Little Liars, and I always thought that Emily was so cool because she was really pretty and she was gay. So I would take am I gay quizzes, probably too much. Another 2 months passed and I still had these feelings for my best friend, even though I didn't know they were feelings then. I started watching gay creators and coming out videos, and then it was another month and quarantine started, and somehow I got put onto the gay side of TikTok and enjoyed this TikTok much more. I started having dreams of girls and I always found them nice. Then I had a dream of kissing my best friend, and I had this dream quite a few times. This was quite the wake-up call, as I'd never felt this way about a boy before or ever found a boy attractive. I am out to my friends and they're all really supportive, and to be fair, they don't really think much of it. I've known that I'm gay for a few months now, and yeah, that's my story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. Attached is a short TikTok I made yesterday where I tell a shortened version of my coming out story and how I realized I wasn't straight. Let's get it. Love that. Yeah. Hey, okay, so I think it all started when I was younger. I was watching H2O, Just Add Water, and I saw Cleo, Phoebe Tonkin, and I was like, wow, she's gorgeous, and I had a crush on her, but I didn't realize at the time. Now I'm 13 and I've had several crushes on girls, and I know I'm bi. Yay! And Phoebe Tonkin is still one of my celebrity crushes, haha. I had various other signs as well from my childhood. Your channel has helped me a lot with figuring everything out, so a huge thank you for that. Thank you so much. And I agree, Phoebe Tonkin is, and I love that you started figuring it out from watching H2O Just Add Water. Banger of a show. Yes. Okay, so hi. This is my experience with my friend that happened in the middle of 7th grade. I'd recently come to terms with the fact that I was bi. I decided I had waited long enough and told my friends at my lunch table how I felt. There were only 4 of us, so I thought telling a small group first would be better, and they were my best friends. I told them, and 2 of them were perfectly fine with it. The other one, who was my family friend since I was 3 years old, whose name was Danielle, was not okay with it. I grew up in a Christian family that had very strict beliefs and was very involved with our church. Her family was the same way. She started saying really mean things to me and told me that I was a sinner, that I was going to hell, and that I was worse than the devil. Then I got a girlfriend, and I was happy for a little over a month, until me and the girl had a big fight. Keep in mind, she had basically been bullying me for about 2 to 3 months at this point. She was insulting me and calling me slurs and being overly rude. She said I was making her lose all of her friends because the people at our lunch table were on my side, and my girlfriend was too. The day after this whole thing went down, my family found out and my uncle, who I was very close to, had died. While I was having the fight with the girl, I was with him for what I didn't know would be the last time. At this point, I didn't think my life could get any worse, but I was dead wrong. Danielle decided to talk to her mum about what was happening, but she lied. She said I was bullying her. Our mums were close friends, so her mum went to my mum, and she told her everything. Told her I was bullying Danielle and making her lose all of her friends. She told my mum about my girlfriend. She fed my mum blatant lies, and my mum believed them. After that, I had a talk with my mum. She got mad at me and punished me even though I tried to explain the lies. She made me break up with my girlfriend, and it made my mental health get worse. I went to the guidance counselor because it was all too much. From there, I was in a room with Danielle and the guidance counselor. Danielle was going to an appointment that day, so her mum was picking her up. The person at the desk sent her mum back to the room and that she was taking Danielle home. As she walked past me, she put her hand on my shoulder and said, "We still love you." And then I broke and was legit sobbing in the office until I was forced to go back to class. After that, I was broken and really depressed for a while, to the point where I tried to take my own life multiple times. I'm glad I didn't succeed because now I have a wonderful girlfriend and we've been back together for 8 months. Behind my mum's back, obviously. Thank you for reading this if you did. You're an inspiration and make me feel better when I'm upset. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'm so glad you are still here with us today, and I'm super sad and sorry to hear that you felt like you needed to try to take your own life. It honestly sounds like you have been through it, but you've come out the other side and you seem so happy now, and I'm so sad that your mum can't accept you or won't try, but I'm glad you have a girlfriend, and I hope everything is going as well as it possibly can for you. Hey Dutchy! So basically in 3rd grade I had my first crush on a girl, but I assumed that everyone had crushes on the same gender and just had to deny it. I also want to clarify that I do not live in a homophobic household. My parents have always told me that if I ever came out as LGBTQ+, I'd be fine with it. Okay, I just wanted to say that so you didn't get the wrong idea about my parents. Then in the 6th grade, I watched the movie Love, Simon, and there was something about Simon's experience to which I really related. I just thought that it was because Simon and I had a familiar family dynamic or some bullcrap like that. And now we'll move to the 7th grade, and I'm being my homo-repressed self because guys are hot, and I guess I would hit that. I develop a crush on another girl. This is the point at which I'm like, oh shit, that's why I liked Love, Simon so much. But I'm still telling myself it's probably just a phase. That's right, I've developed the mentality of a homophobic grandma. Then, since I was such a huge fan of Love, Simon, I read the book. I remember finishing it and being like, oh, well, looky there, my life is written down in a book in the form of a gay male. My crush on the girl, who was also my friend at the time, but now she doesn't talk to me anymore, I don't know why, was murdered when she got a boyfriend, and it made me very sad. Then I spent the rest of 7th grade hating myself and trying to convince myself I was straight. I also was recalling the one time in 5th grade when I started getting into doing interesting hairstyles, and my mum said, I love that you started getting into hair and makeup. You're starting to turn into a real girl. So I'm worried that when I tell my mum, she won't think I'm a real girl anymore and she won't be proud of me. Fast forward to now, I have a slightly better mentality. I'm out to 2 friends, my gay aunt, we stan a gay aunt, and my therapist. I guess I'm in a weird place in between out and not out. It also probably doesn't help that I live in a conservative state. Okay, sorry for going on a tangent. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing that. It's very interesting how you can sort of be out but also not out at the same time. You've absolutely nailed that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, there is definitely a theme here. Okay, so it started in 2018. I remember when the trailer for Love, Simon came out. I knew that it was about a gay kid, and at the time I didn't really understand what that meant, but I felt a weird connection to him without really knowing why. Fast forward to June of 2019, there was a school dance and my friend asked me to the school dance. I said yes. Later that same day, he confessed his feelings to me and I said I liked him too. So we dated until around September, and throughout those months I started realizing I didn't really like him and I just really liked him as a friend. Throughout the relationship, it just didn't feel right to me, as if I'm not supposed to be with a guy. I eventually told him that we can't be together and we broke up. I soon started having feelings for a girl, and that's when I knew that I was gay. Thank you, thank you! I'm loving all of these different realizations, and I love how like the majority of these have had a Love Simon reference. Hey Dutchy! I actually have 2 stories to tell. Both are kind of coming out stories. One is just funny, one is heartwarming. I identify as bisexual. My second coming out was to a great friend of mine. We were going home from a party. We both drank a bit too much. We were taking the subway home, and right there on the crowded metro, I suddenly turned to her and said, "Okay, I have a confession. I'm bisexual. Please don't hate me." She looked at me, rolled her eyes, and smiled at me and said, "Well, I have a confession as well." "Me too." And we just burst out laughing, and everyone else probably thought we were 2 crazy gays. The other one is connected to my boyfriend. He comes from a kind of conservative family, and so when we got together, I was afraid to tell him I was bi. I kept it as a secret and told him I was just an ally for about 1.5 years. When one day I got home, he greeted me with a kiss in the kitchen, and out of nowhere he said, "Sweetie, we've been together for exactly 1 year and 8 months. Now you're basically living with me so I can hear and see everything. You have to know I love you very much and always will. But can you please admit finally that you're bisexual?" At first I couldn't say a word, and then asked how did he know, and he was like, "I don't know, I guess I just know you," and then confessed that I was bi. We're still together, he loves me, and although he teases me a lot for it, he's so accepting and supportive towards my sexuality. Thanks in advance, I love your channel a lot and can't wait for your new vid. They always make my day. Bye 5, Anna. Thank you so much for sending that, Anna. That was sweet. I love that your boyfriend knew, like he obviously knows you really, really well. Love it. I didn't even know that being gay was a thing other than the stereotype feminine gay men. That is why it took me years to figure out that I could like the same gender, and another 3 years until I knew that it was possible to like multiple genders. It was a really hard time for me, and I questioned my sexuality for over 4 years. At one moment, I was so tired of it that I decided to stick with bi. But when I was almost there, I started talking to this dude. It was a mistake, but also not, because even though he had hurt me a lot because I didn't care about sex and everything, I didn't want to do anything. He acted like I was just being a prude, but I really just didn't care. There was no shame. When I was out there, I realized I was bi thanks to yours and Jesse's videos, and later realized that I was asexual. I still question it sometimes, but that's okay, and I know that now. You sweetie, thank you so much for sharing that. Hey Megan, I'm a girl, I'm 12 years old, and I identify as pansexual. I used to identify as bisexual, although most of the time when I tell people that I'm not straight, I just say I'm queer, as not many people know what pansexuality is, and I don't want to have to keep going over it when I come out. I'm out to about 6 of my friends, and 2 of them are LGBTQ+, so that made it easier to go through. My experiences were probably fairly normal for someone my age going through what I was going through, but it was still hard. Constant agonizing over whether I was bi or just thought my girl mates were cute in a friend way. Because of this, it made coming out to even my closest friends hard, but they were so supportive. I'm not ready to come out to my parents or tell any of my family that I also like girls. I don't know if they're against the LGBTQ+ or not. I also don't want them saying that I'm too young to know my sexuality or anything like that. I suffer from anxiety anyway, so all of those emotions and thoughts didn't do too much good, but knowing I have some of the best and most kind, supportive people in my life helped. Your videos have helped me think through my feelings and thoughts. Sorry this has been more like a coming out story, but it's how I've been feeling, and nice to know that it could be out in the open. If you put this in this video, thank you so much. Love, Megan. You're such an inspiration, Dutchy. Love your content. Also, could you please do some pansexual videos on your channel? Yes, of course. I am planning pansexual content as we speak. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, Megan. Yes! Hey Megan, my name is Kai and I'm a huge fan of you. I've been watching you for years, non-stop, without fail. Mwah! Bless you, thank you so much. You're literally my favorite YouTuber in the whole world, and your videos help me when I'm going through stuff. You're such an amazing person, and you and your videos kind of helped me gather the courage to come out to my family. Anyways, the reason I'm writing this, I thought I'd share with you my story of how I came out. First, I'm gonna tell you about me so you can get the gist of it all. My preferred name is Kai. I'm 16 years old and I'm pansexual, non-binary, polyamorous human individual. So, coming out. I came out in February, just before my school shut down for quarantine. My drama and theatre class was putting on a play sort of thing. At the end, when we were introducing ourselves, we had to give 2 facts about ourselves. Everybody would do the usual, I like to do boxing, or I taught myself to do extravagant makeup, like James Charles. Everyone went before me. Eventually, it was my turn to walk on stage, and I walked out wearing a rainbow flag around my neck like a cape. I looked my father and wicked stepmother in the eye, and the 2 facts that I said were, I can do a backflip, and I'm not as straight as you think I am. It was so much fun seeing all the colour drain from my wicked stepmother's face. It's been a few months now. My dad is super supportive of me. He bought me a rainbow binder and a bunch of flags and other rainbow stuff for Pride Month. My stepmother, however, she's not a huge fan of it. She doesn't agree with my choices in life, and she's kind of rude to me now. But it's grand, because haters gonna hate. That was my story. I love you so much, Megan, and I hope you found that somewhat entertaining. I did find that entertaining. I love how you refer to her as your wicked stepmother, but I love that it doesn't affect your dad, and your dad's supportive of you and even bought you a binder. That's goals. I love that. My oh shit, I'm gay moment is the description of this next one. Hey Dutchy, I hope you're good, and I want to say that I love your content. Thank you for educating people on the LGBTQ+ community, etc. Your videos were one of the things that helped me through my questioning stage. Here's the story, I'll try to make it brief. I started questioning my identity when I was watching Anne with an E on Netflix last year in spring, and there was this boy who I assume realized he was gay, and he was saying that he thought his teacher was like him and liked the same sex, but he didn't want to, and that hit me hard. So I turned it off and haven't watched it since. Even though I've accepted that I'm bisexual, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and after that I couldn't stop thinking about girls either. Oop. I'm out to a few of my friends, but not my family, although I think my mum saw a bi meme on my fan account and I told her about, so she probably knows but hasn't said anything. Gay panic. Love you, Megan. Keep inspiring us. Lucy. Oh, thank you, Lucy. Hi, Dutchy. So I was in 6th grade and this girl, Tori, and I were hanging out after school at the coffee place. Well, when I said goodbye, she put her arm around me and said, I love you. Now, at the time, her and I were so close, and then, you know, high school came along and she and I split paths. But at year 6 graduation, I started to get feelings for her, and then it got more and more, and then in grade 7, I liked another girl and I started questioning. Turns out I'm bi. I'm in 11th grade now. I love boys and girls. We get the best of both worlds. Love that. Dutchy, here's my video talking about my experience in the LGBTQ+ community. Hope you're having a nice day, evening. Bless. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Bree, and I am going to share my experience in the LGBTQ+ community. So for most of my life, my views on it were negative because I was in a religious family. I've grown up Christian, and I've been Christian my whole life, and I didn't really see much representation of it except on the media and a few shows like Modern Family. So I didn't really know much about it, and I just went with what my parents said. It wasn't until high school when I found more creators on YouTube and some of my peers that were in the community that my views started to change. This is also when I started to have my own self-discovery about what my own identity would be. It was around June of 2019 that, after much thought and self-discovery, that I felt that I was bi. I didn't know whether that was bisexual or biromantic yet, but I just came out as bi online and to a few select friends at school. And luckily I was supported by these people, which was very nice to know. And then it was around this year that I started looking more into my sexual and romantic orientation and realizing that I am probably asexual and biromantic, which it feels so right to say that. And I haven't come to a decision yet, but I'm thinking I may either be gender fluid or non-binary, so I've at least put the preference out there that I will go by either they, them, or she, her pronouns. I haven't come to a determination on that, but I'm hoping as the year goes on, I will have more self-discoveries of my identity and who I am, and it's just nice to be able to learn more about myself.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Brie, and thank you for filming that. That was awesome, and I'm so happy to hear that you're learning so much about yourself and you feel comfortable identifying with those terms. Hey Dutchy, I went to an all-boys private middle school in France, but now I go to a high school where there are girls, but I'll talk about that later. So when I went and told my brother I think I'm bi, he said it's because I'm only around guys and not girls. So I pushed it away for 4 years, and then when I went to high school where there were also girls, I started noticing, damn, he is hot as fuck, but at the same time, she is really hot. I then spent a couple of months questioning. After I was sure I was bi, I looked up how to come out and found your video. I told my best friend when we were skiing, and then I found out he was bi the same day, and we are now dating. After that, I was writing in my journal for when the time would be for me to come out. When I finished it, my dad came in, took the journal later that night. My mum and dad came into my room talking about how they accept me for who I am. After a few weeks, I told my siblings that I'm bi, and my sister was really cool and said, that's why your taste in fashion is so good. My brother told me, you look exactly the same, nothing has changed, who cares if you also like men? That made me feel really good. So that's how I realized I was bi and how I came out. Best regards, Evan. Thank you so much, Evan. That's a sweet That's a very sweet story. How I knew I was bi and how I came out to my best friend. Okay, so to backtrack a bit, I have this friend group of 6 girls and we hang out all the time. We were all going into 8th grade and I had some classes with some of them. But I had a class with one of my friends, let's call her Lisa. So me and Lisa have history together, and every time I walked into that classroom, I was always happy because I was for some reason excited to see her and have class with her. History was my favorite class. We sat across the room from each other, so we would always mouth stuff to each other and text each other even though we weren't supposed to be on our phones. As time went on, I kind of realized that I had a big crush on her. So that was the beginning of 8th grade that I started to have feelings for her. We saw each other all the time when we would hang out with our other friends in class, and we would text every day. So New Year's came around, so my best friend Lily, let's call her Lily, she invited us all to her house for a New Year's party. It was great. All of us were there and we were all having a fun time. So after the countdown and all of that, we all went home. When I got home, I was texting Lily all through the night. We were just talking about random stuff, and then I said, I have something to tell you, and it took me a while to come around and say it. But then I said, I think I like girls, and she was totally okay with it. She didn't even care if I liked girls or boys, or even unicorns, as she put it. But that made me really happy that she was okay with it, and it wouldn't change anything. The rest of the night I was crying because I was so happy that she accepted me and that we were still friends. Next day she asked if I liked anyone, if I liked a girl. I said yes, and then told her that I had a crush on a girl in our friend group, and I told her I had a crush on Lisa. She was cool with it and didn't care. But every time we would all hang out and me and Lisa would do something together, Lily would text me and say something like, oh, that was cute, or I totally ship you guys together. And that would just make my day. It's now June 2020. We've finished 8th grade online, stupid COVID. But one day Lily texted me and told me that she thinks she's bi. And I was so happy when she told me that. And she's been thinking about it for like 2 months. I was so happy she felt safe telling me that. Sorry that was a little long, but that's how I knew I was into girls and that I was bi, and how I came out to my best friend and how she came out to me. By the way, I still have a big crush on Lisa to this day, and I still don't know if she's straight or not. Only time will tell. Just wanted to say that you're the best and I love all of your videos so much. Hopefully you're able to read through this and maybe able to put this in your video. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mara. You are so cute. Okay, this one is how I knew I was non-binary. I had suspicions that I was NB for about a year before I knew. I was 11 when I asked my friends to use they, them pronouns for the first time, but I used them, so I just told people I wasn't. I finally realized that I was non-binary when I signed up for Discord about 4 months ago. I read through some chats about different genders and stuff like that. Eventually I came across the word non-binary. It brought me into a realization about my gender identity, and it felt like time slowed a bit, like I had just found out something important. I immediately changed my username and googled gender non-conforming names. That's how I found my name. So my mum also found out that I was NB and hasn't confronted me about it yet, but that's a different story. Hope this is the right email. It's kind of embarrassing if it wasn't. I love you so much, Dutchy. You played a big role in me coming out for the first time and you helped me so much. River. I am so proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. As a very young kid, I would pretend to fawn over boys. I'm a girl, but never really had a crush on them except for one in 3rd grade. I would always stare at girls, you know what I'm talking about, but didn't know why I loved doing it so much. In 6th grade, my sister explained to me what most of the LGBTQIA+ terms were, and I realized I might be bi. Then I found out that crushes aren't something where you can choose who it's on, so I realized I wasn't really attracted to boys. I went by queer, even though I'm probably a lesbian, and I don't know how I didn't know this earlier. Thank you for sharing your story! Hi Dutchy! Firstly, you've been my favorite YouTuber since 2018, and I wouldn't be as confident in myself or my identity if I hadn't discovered your channel, so I would really like to thank you for that. Thank you so much. Here we go, this is how I knew. We're talking the first day of year 4 at my all-girls school. Yes, I know, gay property. And this new girl walks in. That's it. I remember thinking, oh shit, I've never been attracted to boys and have liked 4 girls, so yes, I'm gay. Little bit of an update. 4.5 years later, I still like the same girl. She's questioning. Advice would be appreciated as I don't know what to do. Thank you so much, Sen. Oh my gosh! I love that, and I love that it was just like one chick that walked in and you were like, yep, I'm gay, this is it. Advice, if you think she's questioning, I don't really know, like are you mates? Are you just like, do you just know each other? You always chat to her. If you feel like she is questioning, maybe you could sort of say some things she could relate to. I don't know, it's a hard one because I don't really know much more about the story. But thank you so much for sharing yours. A hint to how I knew I was gay. Hi, I'm Hannah. I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your videos and you've helped me find out so much about myself. So, I'm a lesbian. I've known for a couple of months, however I've known I liked girls for more than a year. I'm half out of the closet, not out to my family yet, so I'm quite confident as myself. My story is from when I was in year 4. I had a boyfriend at the time and we'd been dating for about a year. My class thought it was a good idea to marry us, so I broke up with him. He asked me why and I said, I don't want to marry a boy. The funny thing is no one took it seriously and thought I was joking. I would love to know how they didn't think anything of that, but it all makes sense now. I feel like I'm ready to come out because I feel like I'm lying to my family. I'm 90% sure I'm going to be fully accepted even if it takes some time. I'm just scared for the worst, I guess. If you see this, as soon as I come out, I will send another email message to tell you how it went. Thank you for everything, Hannah. Thank you so much, Hannah. And I hope everything went well with you coming out. My name is Aelith, and this email is for the video on Saturday. This is how I came out. On Monday, I came out to my family. I was stressing so much and I didn't know how to come out. I came across the person who sent you this video as bisexual TikTok, and I felt confident enough to send it to my mum. She said she loves me and supports me no matter what, and I'll be able to go to Pride next year as this year's cancelled. My whole family asked questions about the whole situation and I'm so thankful for them being so supportive. Sorry that it's quite short, but that's how I came out. Love your channel so much. I love that story so much. It's so wholesome that they all accepted you. And you're going to Pride next year, bitch! Yay! Hey Dutchy, I'm bi, nearly 15 from Australia. Come to Queensland. One day. I have so many stories, good and bad, from my coming out experience, but this is one of my favorites. Half of my close friend group is LGBTQ+, and we know about 20 to 30 other LGBTQ+ people. One day on Year 9 camp, we had free time, and my friends and I were in a tent playing Uno and talking about gay stuff. And I said, hey, what if we had a group or club for the gays and everyone else? We thought about calling it our mafia and then decided the gay and mafia make Garfia. We asked for people to join who we knew were LGBTQ+, and now we have a chat on Discord and Instagram. And we have decided to go gay shopping all together when it's safe. Thanks so much if you put this in this video, Dutchy. We love you so much. Have a nice day. I would love to be part of your Garfia, thank you, or Gayfia, or however you say it. That is very cool. Hi Dutchy, I love your videos so much. I'm a bisexual cis female and I'm very happy I found your YouTube channel last year. So in 3rd grade we had the LGBTQ+ talk and I walked out of it gay and happy. I thought it was only gay and straight, so I thought I was gay. 4th grade I thought I was asexual because it was a low year and no attraction came to me, but in 5th grade I realized I was kind of misusing the LGBTQ+ community by changing a lot, and also started to see some people that made me realize I was bi. Now in 6th grade, I'm a closeted bisexual and have a girlfriend. Thank you for reading. Love you all, Molly. Oh my goodness, so that brings me to the end of this video. I had so many other submissions that I would love to read, but obviously I can't read them all. If you would like a part 2, then comment down below. I will be doing this video again. It was super wholesome and I loved reading about how you guys felt before you came out and heaps of different stories, not only bisexuals, not only lesbians, but also trans, non-binary, all members of the LGBTQ+ community. I love it. So once again, thank you so much for sending in your story if you did. Let me know if you'd like a part 2 in the comments below. Give it a good old thumbs up if you thought this was as wholesome as I did. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!